Yes, welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. I hope you can stay with us for the next hour. We have got some magnificent guests coming on. Really looking forward to a couple of superstar swimmers will be in joining us. As always, Barry Curt and Greg Anderson join me on the panel. How are we, boys?
Fantastic, mate. Why wouldn't we be fantastic?
And I snuck in again.
You snuck in.
I just snuck in again.
Straight off the bench, mate, into the middle of the show. You're not bad, eh?
Last night. I sat down here just to make sure I was part of it.
Yeah, I've rung security, mate. It's clearly got past in, which is
tough to get on this, let me tell you.
All right,
wow.
Let's talk about the game that really matters to us. It sold out in 72 minutes, if you don't mind, probably 7 minutes and less than that. Port Adelaide, can they win it? Can they get past this week?
No, they'll win.
The Doggies, no trouble?
Well, there'll be trouble because they're a good side. The Doggies are a pretty good side, but they're banged up.
Yep.
And I think...
Bontempelli, question mark on Bontempelli.
It's
Such a massive player.
Whether he plays or not, Phil.
Great player.
He's not going to be 100, is he?
No.
And, I read during the week about Dougie Hawkins saying...
Was saying to play him in the forward line.
One leg. Well, no, mate, this is a prelim.
Yep.
You're better off taking the gamble and leaving him out and hoping that he'd be available for the grand final. Because if he plays this week and they happen to sneak through and he gets banged up again, he won't play the week after.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Port come in with a full list of riches. It's the way you want, as do Melbourne, and we'll get to them in a minute. But
I went to Albion Oval, and you look at Cleary and Hartlett, Georgiades, Woodcock, Frederick Powell-Pepper, Sam Mays. They all perform very, very well. And my ad that I have been through the to the season, or a couple of games during the season. They performed a lot better last weekend against Clell than their attitude there, and I was actually really questioning some of the guys' attitudes, during the year. But wow, they were switched on. They played very, very well.
What does it mean for Port Adelaide if they were to lose? I mean, I agree with you. I think they're going to get past the Bulldogs, but you're playing at home. You've got a full list. Everything's right, and you were to lose. Where does that set the club? Does it have an impact? Do they just go, wasn't our year, or they go, well, we need to find out what went wrong?
They'd be absolutely shattered, I would think.
Yeah.
But prelims are a tough game of
We've
footy.
said that, it's the toughest game.
It can go either way. Look at last year. They were a kick away from a grand final. And a dodgy decision that sort of got them there. Now, did that affect them? No, they're there again.
Yep.
Now, someone said it on one of the media shows that finishing a top two happens about every 7 or 8 years. Ports have done it in the last 3 or 4 years, a couple of times. Their record is fantastic. You cannot knock Port's record.
I'm not arguing, mate. I think they've been fantastic.
It'll hurt
However, you hear the doomsdayers out there going.
It'll hurt them. Yeah, it'll hurt them.
I think Port Adelaide as a whole, I think the supporter base as a whole are expecting to win this weekend. There's no question about it, and they'll be very upset if they don't. The list is. They're all out training. They're cherry ripe. The players are in tremendous form after a sensational win a couple of weeks ago. But in saying that, Bulldogs are the Bulldogs have been a great team all year as well. We question how bad Bontempelli is. I mean, of course, you could never have gone back on with a minute and a half to go anyway. So he had to sit down once he did go off. So, if he's 80%, I think they will. I think they'll play him and they'll play him up forward. They have to win this game. You don't worry about waiting till the grand final. I've lost 3 prelims, and I'm upset about every one and. You can't hold anything back. No. And they all say it's the toughest game to win. You don't. If Bontempelli can play, he has to play.
But this is where that week off comes into it, doesn't it?
Port and Melbourne
both have had that week where you look in the paper and you see photos of the Port boys on the golf course having a big smile. Everyone's laughing and everyone's happy as Larry. While the team they're about to play is about to belt the living daylights out of some other team, and they're all in ice baths. So that week is so important.
It is. It's the attitude and everything.
Been there, done that.
Hey, just quickly, Melbourne, Geelong, we'd expect Melbourne to get through. So we're pretty much talking about a Melbourne-Port final.
But remember the final a couple of weeks ago with Geelong-Melbourne? Geelong had them by 40-odd points with a quarter to go. So don't write Geelong off. Don't write them off.
All right, let's assume for a moment that it's either one of those two. Off to Perth. Yeah. How do we feel as a group of fans based in Adelaide that we've got to try and get to Perth to support our club?
It's unbelievable.
Thousands of dollars, isn't it?
Tough.
It's very, very tough. I think that's pretty much sold out as well.
So, we'll have a chat about that later in the show. At the end, there's a couple of questions I want to throw to both of you, but we need to get over to Jamie now for the sports news. Jamie?
Thanks, guys. I've organised a roundup of footy news this week. Let's get right into it. Hopes are high for Port Adelaide in tomorrow's prelim finals against the Western Bulldogs as they look to claim their spot in the grand final, which will be held in Perth. Adelaide Oval has conveniently increased their capacity from 20,000 people to 26,500 thanks to easing COVID-19 concerns. Hamish Hartlett, Lockie Jones and Mitch Georgiadis are all fit to play, having recovered from recent injuries. Unfortunately, not everyone could secure a seat to the game, with the website experiencing a number of glitches thanks to the high amount of traffic. Tickets became available around midday on Monday and had been completely sold out by 2 p.m. The match will kick off at 7:10 tomorrow evening. An action-filled final schedule has been announced for the SANFL, which will run for 4 weeks. A prelim final will be played on the Friday night before the AFL Grand Final, and for the first time in the league's history, the games will be broadcasted to Channel 7. It'll all start with 2 games this Sunday, which will see the Eagles take on Norwood in the qualifying final and North Adelaide against South in the elimination final. All matches will be played at Adelaide Oval, and as they're being broadcasted to 7, they are expected to attract nationwide interest. In the Adelaide Footy League, Payneham Norwood Union defeated the Goodwood Saints in their own prelim final. The tense match led to the Falcons taking charge throughout the fourth quarter, which eventually resulted in a scoreboard reading of 54-44. It wasn't so tough for the Prince Alfred Old Collegians, who smashed St Peter's Old Collegians by a massive 74-point margin. After kicking 7 goals to 1 in the first term, PAOC dominated the field, finishing off 126-52. We'll see them, as well as Payneham Norwood Union, go head-to-head tomorrow at Hisense Stadium. That's all we've got for you this week. I'm Jamie Tenikoff, and we've got more on the way after the break.